So if you've been paying any attention to Nintendo's 2022 games lineup so far, you may notice a few striking similarities to what we saw them do in 2017, as we have some confirmed sequels that were originally released in 2017. And in today's video, I want to talk about the strategy that Nintendo did back then to launch the Switch and why 2022 could be the next best year in gaming since the original launch of the Nintendo Switch console. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. As I mentioned, guys, we are talking about Nintendo's lineup of 2017 that they launched the original Nintendo Switch with. Back then, if you can believe, it's already been almost 5 years. I mean, we're well past 4.5 years now since the launch of the Nintendo Switch, which is just crazy to me. But a lot of gamers fondly remember 2017 as one of the best and most stacked lineups from Nintendo in terms of the releases that we saw, as we got both Breath of the Wild, the Zelda Breath of the Wild, the original, which just did incredible numbers. And then we know that Mario Odyssey came in that same year. And, while not all titles like Mario Odyssey have not had any kind of confirmed sequel to be released in 2022, there are a number of other striking similarities that I want to talk about in Nintendo's lineup so far. So you have Breath of the Wild, that's the first one. That was a major system seller for the Nintendo Switch, and it launched alongside of it. Now we know Breath of the Wild 2 is aiming for a 2022 release, and that was a very key word from Aonuma because, it's basically saying that they are trying to get it out in 2022. That leads us to believe it's probably the 2022 holiday title this time around and not something like a spring release, because if they were that close, we would probably have more information on the game. They would be ramping it up with more media and trailers. We would probably know the name of the game, and there's a lot of unknown still when it comes to the sequel to Breath of the Wild. So I would still anticipate that to be the 2022 holiday title for Nintendo. And I think that makes the most sense because that's whenever you can capitalize on the highest sales for that game and potentially even sell new Switch systems alongside of it. So I do think that that could be the holiday game for 2022, and that will obviously be a perfect way to close out the year. And I do think that they're going to have a ton of other massive games before then. Now, Pokemon doesn't really fall into this exact discussion, but we are getting Legends Arceus in January. We know that that's going to start off the year in a very strong way for Nintendo, as this Pokemon Legends Arceus will be their first kind of stab at a open world style Pokemon RPG adventure, which is what a lot of players have been asking for years and years. It does appear to be them experimenting with, really redoing the franchise from the ground up. So I am very excited for that title to come out in January. But another 2022 game that will be following this 2017 formula as far as a sequel being released is Splatoon 3, and we do know that to be a 2022 game. A lot of recent reports and rumors have suggested that the game is getting ready for a marketing push, so I would expect that to maybe be a March or an April title. Like, it could be out in more of the first half of 2022 from the looks and sounds of everything that's going on right now. And we did see Splatoon 2 launch on the Switch in its launch year in 2017, so that would be another repeat strategy for Nintendo as far as this timeline of releasing the sequel. You then had the Mario Rabbids crossover game, which is from Ubisoft, and that did sell incredibly well, and a lot of fans like that game, and we are getting a sequel to it, surprisingly enough, in 2022 with Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope. And this game looks like it's a lot higher budget, in my opinion. I think they saw the success of the first one, and just the overall cutscenes and the aesthetic and the art style and just kind of the graphical presentation of this game is really incredible, in my opinion. And so I'm very excited to see what style of game we will ultimately see with Sparks of Hope and what kind of gameplay enhancements and new elements we will see featured alongside this. But again, this is another 2017 repeat as far as having a sequel release in 2022. Then you have heavily rumored, and it probably is real at this point, we had a voice actor recently leak that the fact that Xenoblade 3 was around the corner, and then you had somebody come up and corroborate that and say that in fact it's in the final stages of development. It would have been released in winter of 2021, but it does now appear to be a 2022 title. And we did see Xenoblade 2 launch in 2017, so again, another sequel. Now, the question and the bigger conversation from here is, does Nintendo continue to do this with more titles that they released in 2017? And that's the big unknown right now. We still know we could be around the corner from a September Nintendo Direct, that we could get some new announcements, maybe a new Kirby game, maybe a new Donkey Kong game, and they're about time for their sequels. but then we could also still see, you know, some major announcements from like the next February Nintendo Direct for next year. And, you know, there may even still be room for something like a Mario Odyssey 2, which would be a very, very big one for me. Maybe it's not Odyssey 2, maybe they throw a curveball, they do Galaxy 3, or they do something brand new altogether. But I know Nintendo does typically like to reuse the assets when possible, and with Odyssey being such a massive success for Nintendo, I do expect it, I think most likely, to be something like a direct sequel to Mario Odyssey with just better graphics, new worlds, and new styles of play and new areas. But, you know, it's still going to be probably in that similar engine and similar style of what they created with the first Odyssey. While I would love to see something like an Odyssey come out in 2022, I do think if Breath of the Wild launches in 2022, it is less likely to also have Odyssey launch, as, you know, Nintendo's going to want to run standalone marketing campaigns for those games at different times of the year, probably 6 months apart at least, as we saw Mario Odyssey back in 2017 launch in the back half of the year, and Zelda Breath of the Wild obviously launched alongside the Switch in the beginning part of the year in March. So, you know, they're going to keep them spaced out. So I think Mario Odyssey 2, or whatever the sequel will be called, would most likely come out in 2023, but it's still something that we could get a surprise announcement of at least in 2022, in my opinion. Now, a big game that launched for Nintendo in 2017 and that continues to set and break sales records, which is just ridiculous, is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And this is originally a Wii U port from 2014, and it was re-released in 2017 on the Switch to help sell the system. And boy, did it do that, because this game will not stop selling, as it's currently over 37 million units. And you do have promotions that come along that where Mario Kart 8 Deluxe like comes with the Switch as part of their Black Friday promotion. They've done that just about every year since the Switch has launched, so you can argue that that helps the sell somewhat, but it's still on the top selling charts, and it's selling like over 1 million copies a quarter still. So the thing about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that's frustrating is because it's doing so incredibly well, Nintendo really doesn't have to release the new Mario Kart until this one kind of dies off. But I do think they've obviously had plenty of time to develop it, and I do think that we could be around the corner from something like an announcement. And I hope that if we do start to see Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sales slowly trickle down and fall off, that 2022, the holiday game for when it comes to online multiplayer and just multiplayer as a whole, could be a Mario Kart 9. Or if you guys have watched any of my previous videos, you know that I am hoping and rooting for Double Dash 2, as I just love that gameplay mechanic, and I still think Double Dash is my favorite all-time Mario Kart to this day. But regardless, I think the fans are ready, and I think Nintendo knows that they can capitalize on the huge install base that they have on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because obviously there's a ton of interest on Mario Kart style games when it comes to Nintendo Switch. And, you know, hopefully something like, you know, the holiday time window of 2022 could be a perfectly good time to release the sequel, especially considering that we're going to see Smash Bros essentially die off in the way that we won't be getting new content for it anymore, as the final character for the Smash DLC is about to come out, or be announced at least, and it will wrap up. According to Sakurai himself, there will be no further fighters after this, and Smash is really the, you know, kind of long living online game alongside Mario Kart 8 Deluxe whenever it comes to just a bunch of people playing online with their friends and actually still connecting. And, you know, the cool thing about how long they drug out all these Smash DLC characters being added in is it's a reason to go back and play Smash again and check out the new characters and the new mechanics, and, you know, all the different fighting styles that they have added into the game over time with this broad, incredible roster that has been a part of Smash Ultimate. But that is going to end, and when it does, we will need another massive online multiplayer game for the Nintendo Switch, and I think Mario Kart 9 or Double Dash 2 will be the perfect thing to fill in that spot. And, you know, if they launch it in holiday 2022, that is only going to push their numbers even further and sell more consoles. And I mean, it just makes sense, and it's time for Nintendo to finally give us another Mario Kart. As if you had a Wii U like I did, you've been playing Mario Kart 8 for way too long at this point. So hopefully Nintendo finally listens and finally does the sequel to the long-awaited Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But I really want to hear from you guys at this point in the video on what you are most hyped for, what you think we will see Nintendo actually deliver in 2022, and if you agree that you think that we will see them follow more of the 2017 formula with things like a Mario Kart or unannounced games. Also, let me know which one you're most hyped for. I'm definitely most hyped for Breath of the Wild 2, as I just cannot wait to see what Nintendo is going to deliver with the sequel to the incredible Breath of the Wild. And, you know, hopefully, I think what I want to see them do is merge some of the more traditional style mechanics from Zelda games, like traditional dungeons, and maybe a little bit more of a linear path for part of the game, and then still branch it out into that new open environment that they created with Breath of the Wild. As I think if they could kind of merge those two things together just a little bit, I would be beyond happy. But I want to hear all your guys' hopes and and opinions on what you think we will see from Nintendo in the year of 2022. So please make sure you comment that down below before you do leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around this topic. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do at this point in the video want to invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on your way out if you enjoyed it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. That's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.